Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel, your source for all things Everton. And Everton are, of course, back in Premier League action on Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock on the Boxing Day fixture at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's been a much welcome break away from the football for us Evertonians because the last time we left Everton, I think it's fair to say, it wasn't in the best of places. I think it was a 7-1 aggregate loss at Bournemouth across the space of a couple of days. Not a great note to go out on by any means. But of course, we've got Connor Williams jumping on with us to look ahead to this fixture. Connor, obviously, first and foremost, did you enjoy your time away from not having to worry about Everton for over a month?
Yeah, I did. It was really nice. And like, I'm not that fussed about international football really, but it was nice to have a break. And it was nice to watch it for a lot of because it was on like I think it was quite good for UK viewers because it was on like 10, 3, and 6, wasn't it, during the group
Yeah.
stages. So it was nice to just watch it, especially I work from home, so it was lovely to just watch the football all day. And it's better when you've got teams that you've got no interest in, no personal interest in, and just going at it. It was really good. Like you said, it was a nice break. There was only like three Everton players that went, and two of them was like a keeper and a centre back. The other one being Onana, so you didn't have to worry about injuries that much either.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? You mentioned the word worry there, and there was no worry at all because even though football completely stopped domestically, there just seemed to be no sort of transfer talk, no links, no injury news, just the constant battering that us as Evertonians take on a weekly basis. It just all came to a halt, and that was obviously great. But the inevitable has happened, and we are back in action against Wolves on Monday, and yeah, it doesn't get any easier for Everton because straight away we are jumping into a must-win game. So Everton are well and truly back. So yeah, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers Boxing Day. It's the Boxing Day fixture. It's always a funny one. It's always one of those games where sort of, well, you'd say form maybe goes out the window on a Boxing Day fixture, but of course form essentially has reset anyway. It's a funny situation. Before we jump into the fixture itself, let's just talk for a moment about the whole scope of the Premier League. It's so funny, isn't it? Really, we've had a mid-season break, a break it's been a lengthy break. We're not just talking a couple of weeks, and we come back into around the fixtures where a lot of teams who are maybe riding on a lot of momentum, you think further up the table, the likes of Arsenal and Newcastle, it'd be interesting to see how they fare coming back into it, like a blank canvas essentially. So how do you think this is going to work in Everton's favour? Because we mentioned at the start of the video how the last time we left Everton, we weren't in a great position at all. Really struggling to score goals, struggling to get points. So we've got to use this to our advantage, haven't we? Now, I mentioned that blank canvas. We've got to really play into that going into this fixture, haven't we, Connor?
Yeah, yeah, especially because, like we just said as well, not many of our lads went as well. Some of the other teams have had about half a squad go. So you can understand why they might be struggling. Some of them are still having a break. Some of them will be absolutely ran off their feet, etc., etc. We're quite lucky. Only three players, like I said, one was a keeper, the other's Onana. Cody never really got any game, well, he didn't get any game time. So we are in a really good spot. He's had 6 weeks, and it's essentially another pre-season. We started this season well off a pre-season. I think we started the season like quite well for us, bearing in mind the contrast to how we ended last season. Um, it's a great opportunity for us, but it also leaves, especially with the January window coming up as well, and apparently we're going to back the manager during that. It sort of leaves no excuse for the players though, or the manager or the club for us to not kick off on the ground running. You've had 6 weeks to iron out the creases, which towards the end of the break were the fact we weren't scoring, which has been a problem all season, and I don't think that'll get any better till January when he gets whoever he wants in, because like Dele Alli that he brought in didn't exactly work, so we need that. Um, and apparently another forward as well is what we're looking for, which with Calvert-Lewin's injury record, unfortunately, is a very big one for us to fill. But we're also starting to let goals in as well, like you said, that 7-1 aggregate to Bournemouth. And before then there were a couple of other games we'd started to let go of the defensive stability that we had at the start of the season. And if you're not going to score, you've at least got to close up at the back.
Yeah, of course. We all know we went into that World Cup break and it was left a real sour taste in the mouth. A lot of talk about the manager's future. There was a real bad feeling around the club, and I think that was one of the big things people didn't want to take into the break. This being like a sort of cloud over the club, and unfortunately, that's the way it happened. We went into the break on a really bad note. And, we come back in now. We have people have had time to go away and come back, and I think a lot of people are, the Lampard out shouts have sort of quiet down a little bit going into these into the resume of the Premier League, I should say. So yeah, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers at home, who have been struggling themselves, not had it easy by any means this season. Of course, the League Cup game that they had in midweek aside, this is their new manager coming in. How much do Everton need to be wary of this? Because we're no stranger to new manager bounces ourselves. We've got the t-shirt on that front, but Wolves are definitely going to be looking to. It's going to be an interesting game in a way because we're two sides in a similar sort of situation. We're not where we want to be in the league. We've not had the greatest first half of the season, and we're coming in, and both sides will be wanting to, turn a corner and really, pick up a bit of form going into the second half of the season, into the new year. So the one advantage we have is that it's at Goodison Park. But yeah, just going back to that point about the manager, it's going to be something that we've really got to keep an eye on, isn't it? Because Wolves will be wanting to really get off to a good start under their new boss.
Yeah, it's two teams that I don't think, when you look at their squad quality, should be where they are. I personally believe our team is the quality of mid-table 12th to 13th, at least, or probably at most as well. But like, I think with that quality, Wolves are probably around there as well. I don't think Wolves should be bottom of the Premier League. So it's like you said, it's a must win for us, but it's as must win for Wolves. They need to get out of that bottom as quickly as possible before they get dragged into. We know what it was like last season. If you don't get away from it quickly, you get dragged into it, and then every game is a pressure cooker. Fans literally had to save us last year from being, going down. The new manager bounce, I'm very wary of it. Apparently, though, against Gillingham, bar the 2 goals they scored, it was a lot of possession. They just held the ball. And they were the only 2 chances. The Wolves fan that I spoke to on the opposition review, he didn't sound the most confident. There's a couple of fans we've had on that come in and think, oh, we're going to bounce you. He wasn't so confident, even with the new manager, who, a Europa League winner, very established man. That's Gillingham as well. The players might have thought, that's Gillingham attitude. This is the Premier League and Everton, and I'm sure the manager and the team will take it a little bit more seriously. But it is going to be a tough game. I think it's a game I've got to worry it's got a draw written all over it. And it's a game that even then, both teams will be quite annoyed at that because you need the 3 points.
Yeah, 100%. We need 3 points. Simple as, it's one of the older sayings in football, but 3 points can just change the entire atmosphere around the club, can't it? And we just really need that at the moment. Really need that. Because then before you know it, the league table can be looking very different. And then we move on to, of course, we've got Manchester City, which, it's a free hit essentially, isn't it? But then you look at 2 home games where I'd sort of expect Everton to go and pick up points against Brighton and Southampton. So, the City game aside, we've got sort of 3 home games here that we can maybe look as an opportunity to really kick on. But of course, there'll be a lot more confidence to do that if we can pick up the 3 points on Boxing Day. It'll be a tough game, but of course, we need to win. It's as simple as that. We do need to pick up the points here. Just on the team news, of course, Frank Lampard did do his pre-match interview today. Talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a name on everyone's lips. It's been no secret Everton's lack of goal-scoring abilities this season. And, when you're in a position like that, you do have to look to your centre forwards. And we all know Calvert-Lewin's injury struggles for the last 12 to 18 months or so. And then the line which really came out the press conference was that it's going to be tight, which to me doesn't suggest that Calvert-Lewin's going to start this game. So it's looking like it's going to be Neil Maupay. We've had a couple of friendlies in the break. I think Maupay, he got his name on the score sheet in Australia. He also scored in that behind closed doors friendly against Villa in the week. So he can hopefully take a bit of confidence going into this game, Neil Maupay, because it's looking likely that he's going to start. So it's a great opportunity for him to start coming to form now that Rondon's out the door. Calvert-Lewin can't really be relied on. Tom Cannon's thereabouts within the squad now. But, it's a great opportunity for Neil Maupay to start really staking his claim in this side now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I still think I'm a bit dubious on him in the fact that I think he's more of a moment striker than so many goals, because he ravages about 10 goals a season. But it's a great moment sort of thing to get. It's great to have that type of player in your team alongside your main goal scorer anyway. And like you said, it's a great way for him to prove me wrong and anyone else that might have that perception of him wrong as well. It's a shame about Calvert-Lewin though, because when he plays, he's easily drags us up. But I'm not gonna lie, I think I'd rather him miss this game if he's touch and go, because as we've learned this season, there's no point having him being half fit, not being able to give his all. then produce a lackluster performance due to that, and then be injured again for prolonging his injury. Just rest him up till he is fully fit and ready to play, so we can get the best out of him as quickly as possible. Because this stop-start, we do this last year with him. We did it with Yerry Mina to an extent during his career. It doesn't work. It just prolongs the inevitable. I think Benitez did it with Mina, didn't he? Brought him back before he was fully fit. That didn't go completely well. But yeah, Neil Mugpie, I mean, there's a good chance for him to prove us wrong. It does make me worried, though, that we are very thin on the ground on strikers. I mean, Rondon wasn't much to shout home about, but with Sims and Dobbin out on loan, it's just Cannon and Mugpie at the minute.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the other sort of talking point team selection wise is, Connor Cody, fan favourite. He will not be playing in this game as it's against his parent club. So, that opens up a slot in the back alongside Tarkowski, who we assume will play. I think most people would like to see Ben Godfrey come back in. He's come back into training. He's looking a lot stronger. He's not been seen since he was substituted off on the opening day of the season against Chelsea. Of course, there's a shout there for your Michael Keanes as well. Yerry Mina, God knows what's happening with him. I don't know where he's coming or going, that fella with the injuries. But assuming that it's Keane or Godfrey, which it might be, who do you sort of edge towards?
Oh, Godfrey.
Yeah.
Just
Thought you were
more
going to
like,
say that.
not that I think he's a prodigal son, but like Michael Keane, I think his career at Everton is done. And like you said, you just can't tell Yerry Mina's fit. And I do quite like Ben Godfrey as well. I think his pace would complement someone like Tarkowski very well. People mention his defensive positioning. He got a stick on Twitter the other day. Which I get to an extent, but I mean, he's still, when you've got some of the centre backs we have, he's certainly not the worst. And I quite like it. I think his pace can sort of get him out of trouble for his defensive positioning as well if you're quick enough, which he has. So I don't think it's as big of an issue as people are making out.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to see Ben Godfrey back on the side. He's had a real troubled campaign so far with his injuries, but it'd be great to see Ben back on the side, as you mentioned there. A lot of pace, very athletic, and he's going to be a welcome addition in Connor Cody's absence for sure. So yeah, Boxing Day, we really need 3 points. Everton currently sitting in 17th place, Wolves in 20th place, rock bottom. Both sides are absolutely desperate for 3 points, but of course we do have the advantage of being at home. We've just got to get behind them. As I say, we've had an opportunity to sort of go away, get refreshed and come back on a blank canvas, form sort of restarts a little bit, and we've just got to use this to our advantage. It's a great opportunity for us to turn a corner with some, I don't want to use the word favourable fixtures because I don't think any fixture is favourable to Everton these days. But the Man City game aside, we've got some home fixtures which I'd like to think Everton can at least come away with something. So we can start this second half of the season the best way possible with 3 points on Boxing Day. Fingers crossed. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Connor, big thanks for jumping on, previewing this game with us. Big thanks to you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like if you haven't done so already as well. Yeah, that's all there is to it, really. Hopefully we can come away with 3 points on Boxing Day, and all the best for Christmas as well. So yeah, take care everyone, and see you next time on the Toffee Blues.